Pray together.
Almighty God and gracious Father, you of one blood have made all the nations to dwell on the face of the earth. You give to us life, breath, and all things. You have ordained the powers that be to rule and to serve as your ministers, to be a terror not to good works but to the evil. We are thankful for our nation, for our state, for our city. We are thankful for our fellow citizens who govern. We pray your blessings upon them, that they do so wisely with humility, that each of us strive to be good citizens. In Jesus' name, amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, we have roll call.
Alderman Free. Here. Alderman Swan. Here. Alderman Bryan. Alderman Kilgore. Alderman Sang. Here. Alderman Colley.
Okay, do I hear a motion to approve the minutes for December 15th? Is there any correction? If not, call roll.
Alderman Free. Alderman Swan. Alderman Bryan. Alderman Kilgore. Alderman Sang. Alderman Colley.
Do we have a couple?
Yes, sir. We received a thank you card from the Billy Ring family. We also received a thank you card from Kim Roberts, which is John Roberts' wife. We received another thank you card from the Northcutt family. Received a letter from Gerald Poole Sr. to Manchester Board of Mayor and Alderman and the Manchester Tourism and Development Commission. I want to thank you all for the honor you gave me by naming me Grand Marshal of the Manchester Christmas Parade. This was one of the most wonderful titles that I have ever received, and although there are many others more deserving than me, it was a great ride for me and my wife, Catherine. Thank you again for asking me to participate in the event, and thank you for the clock presented to me by Mayor Norman. And then we also received an email from Richards Lake Management Consultants regarding the Manchester Water Department, and they were talking about how the water department only had 11% of water loss for last year, and that's excellent. And they stated that the Manchester Water Department is one of the best water utilities in this state regarding water loss.
Okay.
Got the best manager.
Okay, I don't have anything to bring before the board. Any comment, citizen? Any citizen?
I do, yes.
Stand right here and tell your name, please.
My name is Kevin Turner. I'm a resident of Holly Tree Apartments. It's on the corner of Hills Chapel Road and Doak Road. There are disabled tenants who use mobility devices. On Christmas Eve, our dumpster was moved to a different location by the order of the mayor's office. It is now in a location that I discussed with my landlord this morning, and he stated to me unequivocally, the location it is in presently is a violation of the American with Disabilities Act. Mayor Norman, I don't know how you determined, because 5 people complained to you that this was a visual impairment to motorists stopping it at the traffic. The stop sign located on Doak Road at the intersection of Hills Chapel Road. That is certainly not a majority of the motorists who come through that intersection. I've done some simple math. If you say, for instance, and I think this is a conservative estimate, 500 people in any given 24-hour period stop at that stop sign in their cars. You divide 5 by 500. The number you get is 0.001. You convert that to a percentage by multiplying by 100 or moving the decimal places 2 points to the right. This results in a number of 0.1, and to designate the percentage, you put percentage sign after it, which means the traffic coming through there, the amount of people complaining is 0.1%, which means 99.9% of the traffic, the motorists coming through that intersection didn't complain. Did you get elected, Mr. Mayor, by a minority of the voting electorate?
Yes, I did.
A minority.
I got elected by the majority.
I said a minority, sir. Did you get elected by a minority of the electorate registered in the city of Manchester that did vote?
I got elected by the majority.
Okay, then how come 5 people, which is obviously a minority, are getting to decide fate?
Okay, let me explain.
An apartment complex.
Let me explain something.
I'm still talking, Mayor, please do not interrupt me, okay? And I will give you your chance to talk.
Okay.
Our apartment complex has 24 units. That's more than, that's almost 5 times the number of people that complain to you. Okay, now, go ahead. Pardon me for hitting that microphone.
One's enough for me, if it's somebody get hurt. But let me make something clear to you. I made the decision with the street department to go out there and check it and see, was it a safety problem?
Exactly what did you do?
They said, okay, you said you was to do, let me get you.
Okay.
Okay, so you said, and they said it was a safety hazard. You attended, right?
Yes, sir, I am.
Okay, since I've talked to you, I've talked to the manager.
Yes, sir, I'm aware.
He said he was well aware of why it was moved. He didn't have a problem with it.
Oh,
I'm supposed to go see him in the morning.
I understand this. I spoke.
And he said that he had plenty of places that they could put it.
Okay.
So that'll be up to him where he wants to put it.
I know that the city is not responsible for prosecuting anybody who violates a federal law. But at the same time, the city cannot, in any action that it takes, cannot violate federal laws.
I'm not violating this.
I would refer to Gerald Ewell Jr.
Okay, I'll let him go.
Do
It's
you have-
absolutely not a violation. I don't think that ADA even applies to a dumpster, as the ADA applies only to places of public accommodation, and it does not apply to apartment houses. And in fact, the ADA doesn't apply to any structure that was not first occupied more than 30 months after July 26, 1990.
I
So it probably
understand.
doesn't even apply to that
The
structure at all.
multi-
If you let me finish, sir, that seemed to be your theme earlier, is to let people finish.
I apologize to you.
But in any event, the city has an obligation to its citizens to make sure they're safe. The obligation to comply with the ADA, even if it applies, is between the owner of the complex and the tenants who are disabled, not to tenants who are not disabled. It is their obligation to comply to those with disabilities. The city can make reasonable regulations under its police power to ensure public safety, and it's the obligation of the owner of the premises to configure their premises to comply with whatever federal law or state law applies to it.
Okay. May I
So moving it out of the way of a traffic hazard is something that's within the city, is power to do under its police power, and it's up to management to comply with whatever federal law does apply.
Is there a certain protocol that has to be followed in order to get that done, or can the mayor certainly simply decide to do that on his own?
The mayor, because of
I'm just asking.
the city's relationship with Allied Waste and the dumpster, the city can say you need to move any kind of traffic hazard, direct the police to do it. They move traffic hazards,
Because it's a
remove traffic hazards all of the time.
Because it's a traffic hazard.
Yes.
So the issue does not need to be taken in front of the Traffic and Safety Committee and a lengthy and thorough study be conducted, a report be written up detailing their findings, and then a decision be made after the whole entire board has looked at the report.
No, decisions about public safety need to be made immediately when the hazard is made apparent. If the board wants to revisit those, obviously the board can revisit the decision about public safety later on, but matters to resolve public safety issues are made by police officers on the scene all the time. On a basis, if we had to wait till a committee convened and we had a vote to resolve every safety hazard, people would be dead all over the place.
Okay, well, may I tell you this? I lived there 5.5 years.
Okay?
I bank at a San Federal Credit. I drive out, I exit the parking lot, I pass the dumpster where it used to be located. I turn right on Doak Road. I stopped at that stop sign. I have never had a problem seeing around the dumpster where it was located. In all the 5.5 years I've lived there, up until Christmas Eve when the mayor had it moved. The mayor told me when he came out there, he was second in line and he couldn't see around it. Well, I hardly think that's a safety issue if you're second in line. Any police officer on the Manchester City Police Department will tell you if you're second in line, you don't have the right of way. And I don't care how quickly you think the car in front of you ought to go, you don't have the right of way, so you've got to sit there and wait.
That's a difference of opinion as to what constitutes a safety hazard, and the mayor was elected by the majority of the votes cast to make those decisions for all of our benefits, so his decision stands until overruled by the board.
So the best thing you can advise me to do is to go before the safety board tomorrow.
I would advise you, if you don't like where the dumpster is, talk to your landlord. He's the one that can move it.
I talked to the landlord, and the landlord informed me, as the mayor just stated, that they are going to meet tomorrow. My landlord said, you can't find City Hall. That's what he told me. And even though he told me that, yes, the apartment complex is in violation where the dumpster is of the ADA. There has to be an accessible route. Any common area in the apartment complex that is accessible to people without disabilities must have an accessible route to and from the entrance doors to it for use by disabled persons who use mobility devices. Okay, and it must be free of uneven terrain, soggy terrain, steps, and a public roadway.
You mentioned how long you've lived there. I've lived beyond there since 1991. Alderman Bryan's lived out there since before it was even in the city.
His brother is right across the street.
And, you know, the pad where the dumpster is now has been there a lot longer than you've lived there. So the dumpster merely was moved back to where it began. And so if it was a violation then, it was a violation, you know, whatever. But we don't need to prolong this debate. The mayor's going to resolve that with your landlord tomorrow. It may or may not be to your satisfaction, you know, as long as it complies with whatever regulations apply.
Well, there's two elderly women that live there that use walkers, okay, and one of them is rather heavy set, okay, and it's enough of a hardship for her to get to the dumpster where it was located previously, much less where it is now. And when I walked around the complex Saturday the 2nd to talk to the residents, some of the people who live there didn't even know where the dumpster was because the mayor didn't notify the tenants where the dumpster had been moved to and why it was moved and under whose authority it had been moved, and the landlord didn't do that either. And this took place on Christmas Eve, and everybody went on vacation, and the poor tenants had no recourse. The mayor went to his house where he don't have to walk 75 yards to get to the dumpster.
Again, I'm not going to prolong the debate. We'll be here all night.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for listening.
Okay, we'll get committee, safety committee. Nothing to report. We have a meeting tomorrow at 1 o'clock. Here is board. Finance?
We have a meeting tomorrow night as well, and as of today, we're on property tax collection at 47.9%. And then I've informed everybody about Mr. Overton coming on the February 3rd meeting, so it'll be an important meeting for everyone to try to attend.
Okay. You want to do that?
It had been brought to my attention at the end of the year, there was some expressions of gratitude given to some employees. And these were not necessarily like a line item on the budget. And it's $30 or less. So we just need to, as a board, I'll make the motion to ratify that. And then if there are any department heads that might have a documented expense where they spent that much money, up to $30, out of their personal finances, and they would like a reimbursement, I would like to include that in the motion as well, that we would reimburse that as long as that expense can be documented.
Okay.
Per employee.
Per employee, yes. So I make that as a motion.
Okay, now a second?
Second.
Okay, is there any discussion?
This
Call
wasn't brought
roll.
up at finance?
I'm sorry.
This wasn't brought up in finance meeting?
No, this is
No.
just something that is found out.
No. Just find out about it.
I'm sorry, Tim, I can't hear you.
I just said, repeat what the problem.
There's, like, the Spring Street gift certificates that are given out every year.
Right.
Those are not necessarily like as a line item in the budget. And in some other budgets, those have been brought up because they were not as a line item in the audit. So if we mention this, that we all approve of things like that in our minutes, then when an audit comes, we are aware of it, or we're not
Okay.
necessarily aware of it when it comes budget time.
Okay, any more discussion? Call the roll.
Alderman French,
One abstain.
Alderman Swan,
Aye.
Alderman Bryan, Alderman Kilgore,
Aye.
Alderman Sane,
Abstain.
Alderman Polly,
Aye.
You want to come back to y'all, or they both just go through those and you got to decide for them? Okay. Arts Commission?
Nothing new in arts. Arts will meet this Thursday at 5:30.
Okay. Streets,
Meet tomorrow night.
Water and Sewer,
Meet Thursday.
Recreation,
We meet on the 14th at noon.
okay. Tourism,
At the hospitality roundtable meeting, there was some good discussion. One of the things that we're going to be doing in the next 2 months, tourism is partnering with the Chamber of Commerce to start a Eat, Sleep, and Stay program where we're going to work with businesses throughout town to create like a discount brochure for people that are in town with softball tournaments, baseball tournaments, basketball tournaments, et cetera, and make sure that those folks get those brochures when they come to a game and pay. And then those brochures are going to encourage people to go out through town and eat with a discount or whatever, what have you. The business will be able to choose what they put in there. But we're going to partner with the chamber on that to hopefully have that product done before spring softball starts and things like that. So that, I think it'll be a pretty cool program for the businesses. And they're not going to be required to be chamber members as part of the partnership. Just do it as any business in town that wants to promote themselves. And all they have to do to participate is provide some type of discount that I pay to be in it. Things like that. But some of these tournaments that we talked to moving forward to get them into town, one of the requirements we're going to have is that they pass those out when they take admission. So that was the biggest discussion out of it.
Planning Commission,
When the planning commission met last month, we approved Jamie, correct me if I'm wrong, was it the site plan? The site plan for the new speedway over at the corner of McLaughlin and Oak Drive. And just make a note, there won't be any cutting into the property on the residential side. It will all, the road there, the traffic study showed that it should be widened and a turn lane there near the red light. The people who are looking at purchasing the property are going to pay for improvements in the traffic signals. It won't be any cost to the city at all, but it's going to be a it's going to take the level of service of the traffic stop up a notch from what we are seeing currently.
That's pretty high traffic there.
It is, yeah. It's a pretty low service area, or I mean, high service, but low quality of service area as it was. So it's going to be improved majorly, and there won't be any infringement on the property of the other residents there. And then I think that's all we did last month, and we
Yeah.
will, go ahead.
No, I just, yeah, that's
Yes.
fine.
And we will meet next month on January the 18th at 5:30 here in the boardroom.
It'd be it's the 21st, because it's on a holiday.
21st.
Yeah,
Thanks, David.
no problem.
Historical zoning?
Now, we meet this Thursday. There hadn't been much going on
Okay, we'll get into resolution and ordinance.
First on your agenda, second reading ordinance to amend Municipal Code 14803 relative to exterior architectural requirements for commercial and industrial buildings. Passed first reading December 15, 2015, presented second reading.
I hear a motion.
Make a motion.
Second.
Second.
Is there any discussion? Call the roll.
Alderman French.
Aye.
Alderman Swan.
Aye.
Alderman Brown. Alderman Kilgore.
Aye.
Alderman Sain.
Aye.
Alderman Polly.
Next thing you have is the third reading of ordinance amending Title 14, Chapter 6, Section 1 and 2 of the Manchester Municipal Code, the same being the zoning ordinance of the City of Manchester, Tennessee, to amend that ordinance and zoning map provided listed on by Jeffrey Dale Ryder, wife Lindsay B. Ryder, be rezoned as R3 residential from C1 commercial. Passed first reading December 8, passed second reading December 15, presented for third reading and public hearing.
Second.
Be ordained by the Board of Mayor and Aldermen of the City of Manchester, Tennessee, Title 14, Chapter 6, Section 1 of the Manchester Municipal Code, being it is hereby immediately changed zoning classification upon prescribed property owned by Jeffrey Dale Ryder, like Lindsay B. Ryder, from C1 commercial to R2 residential. Certain tract parcel land line being the first subdivision of Coffee County, Tennessee, being described as follows: being the City of Manchester, Tennessee, front 70 feet on the East Main Street, and extends southerly between parallel lines, just 150 feet on the north by East Main Street on the east of the Manchester funeral property on south by lot 201 East McLean Street. To date conveyed to Jeffrey Thomas Dibman and on the west by Stella Huffman. Included above described property, excluded from here is the following described collective that was conveyed to Manchester Funeral LLC of record in book 282, page 419, register of Coffee County, Tennessee, being included described as follows: commencing at the point of southerly margin of East Main Street, zip code 440.73 feet west of center line of the track from the railroad, and also being the northeast corner of the track period described in south 2 degrees, 45 minutes north, west 100 feet to the point, then north 87 degrees, 15 minutes, 00 seconds west, 15.16 feet to the point, north 87 degrees, 15 degrees west, 2.50 feet to a point, then north 2 degrees, 6 minutes, 8 seconds east, 30.50 feet to a point, then south 87 degrees, 15 minutes east, 2.5 feet to a point, then north 2 degrees, 6 minutes, 8 seconds east, 69.5 feet point to southerly margin of East Main Street, then along East Main Street, south 87 degrees, 15 minutes east, 14.85 feet to point, Union Bank, 107 acre more or less, point surveyed back to Cook Associates, registered land server 1359, 213 North Spring Street, Manchester, Tennessee, dated February 20, 2001. Covenants record 318, page 784, register of Coffee County, Tennessee, being the property described in book W336, page 69, register of Coffee County, Tennessee. Be further ordained by the Board of Mayor and Aldermen of the City of Manchester, Tennessee, at the time of 14, Chapter 6, Section 2, Manchester Municipal Code, title zoning map being mentioned as properties R3 residential. And be further ordained by the Board of Mayor and Aldermen of the City of Manchester, Tennessee, source of taking on after publication and passage and public hearing. The public will of the City of Manchester, Tennessee, requiring that all ordinances in conflict be repealed to the extent of the conflict, is ordered to presume the passed with negative recommendation of the Manchester Regional Planning Commission. Again, passed first December 8, passed second December 15.
Okay, is there any discussion on it? This is also a public hearing on that. Anybody wants to speak for or against it? If not, call it up.
Alderman French.
Aye.
Alderman Swan.
Aye.
Alderman Brown. Alderman Kilgore.
Aye.
Alderman Sain.
Aye.
Alderman Polly.
Aye.
Okay. Okay, on old business, we can't do that until the next meeting. And on new business, I reappointed that Donna Neal for an unvoted member and then replaced Doug Strong with Diane Collins. You have anything?
I did vote that.
All right. We'll adjourn.
Sit there, Mel, and call her.